Okay, I got you.
So you end this one, then you click the next link that got emailed you.
Okay,
All right, Jeremy, I'm going to make you the host so I can log out and start the next talk.
sounds good, man. I appreciate you.
Fellas, it's Rick Stewart with the Youth Wing T Summit. As you guys know, I'm the kind of the mastermind behind this. Um, Jeremy and I met several years ago in Boston. He was kind enough to give me a ride back and forth from the airport, and we hung out and drank beer. And we met this awesome coach. I highly recommend him if you see him on the Glacier Circuit. Named Chris Ross. He was a Texas high school coach. Man, we learned a lot of ball. And I think we closed that
Oh
bar
yeah,
down around almost 2 a.m., maybe midnight.
yeah. It
And
was
hey,
like
Coach Lex, I don't know if you know, he took a college job. He's the offense coordinator, Stephen Austin.
no kidding. Good for him.
Yeah, and
That's
hey,
awesome.
well, no doubt, right? He was good. He was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I sat through his defensive talk. It was I think it was linebacker play. It was awesome.
Yeah, he's really awesome. Well, Jeremy, you're awesome. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna bounce so I can get the next one talking, Coach. You're the host. Let's roll.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you, Rick.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Is it just me in here? I'm trying to see if we got anybody else that joined. Looks like I got one in here at this point, but that's fine. We'll give it about another 30 seconds or so, another minute. I know it just started and the room just opened up. So, like I said, we'll get it rolling here in about a minute or so, just giving everybody time to get in. John, you can see my screen, all right? Perfect. So I've got three back to back tonight. So my first one's going to be the installing the gun tee. The next one's formations and motions, and then the third one is running quarterbacks with the gun tee. Yeah, I'm actually stepping down after this year. This last year was my last year coaching youth as a head coach, at least. I Our high school team's pretty solid right now, and I've been trying to balance both, and it just got to be too much doing youth and high school. And like I said, our high school team should make some noise in the state tournament this year, so I want to be able to focus on that. But I've been doing really youth everywhere from third grade to eighth grade for the last 16 years. The last six have been at the fifth and sixth grade level. So I've kind of seen a lot of it. Not all running the gun tee. The last we'll say about three to 4 years have been the gun tee. The four years ago was kind of a blend pistol with the gun tee. I was just kind of playing around with it. And then the year after COVID, I went 100% gun tee at the youth and at the high school level. We were running the last 2 years have been mostly the gun tee, but we do have a double wing package that we do like to play around with that we've had a lot of success with. Well, here I'll get rolling here. And like I said, as people come in, we're up to three, so we're starting to get some people in. I know a lot of people are just getting out of work. Hell, on the West Coast, it's what 3 o'clock still, so there's still people working. So, like I said, this will all be available, recorded, so you'll be able to see all of this later on. And if anybody missed it, they can see it there too. I would love to hear your double wing stuff too. Absolutely. You feel free. You got my phone number there, email address. I'm trying to promote a little bit on social media. So I've got X, Twitter, whatever it is now, Instagram and TikTok. They're all kind of brand new accounts. So follow those. But again, feel free to shoot me a text or an email, whatever is easiest for you, and I'll gladly talk. I love talking football. So like I said, whatever you need, just let me know. All right. So again, I'm Jeremy Levesque. I coached fifth and sixth right up until this year in Adams, Mass. We're a small town in Western Massachusetts. We're about a half hour from the New York border, half hour from the Vermont border. So we're up in that little corner of Massachusetts that everybody forgets about and thinks that it's just nothing but woodland. And they're not completely wrong. It is kind of rural around here. Our county has here, sorry, real quick rundown of me. I don't like talking about myself. You guys aren't here to listen to me, but I will get it out one time. And if you stay for the next two, you won't have to listen to it again. Like I said, I've been coaching about 16 years now at the youth, the last 5 at the high school, 4 at the high school. The youth, I've had a lot of success as an assistant and a head coach. As an assistant, I think I coached under one of the the greatest youth football minds that I've ever been around. Maybe I'm biased. I played for him when I was in youth football, and then I coached with him as a young adult in my 20s. And I think he coached probably 30 something years, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's been to 25 championships with 20 titles. Like I said, he was just unreal. And the big thing I take away from him is have fun at practice and keep it simple. Don't try to overthink it. We ran an I formation offense, and that was right up through early 2010s. I think he was coaching through. So, like I said, it's been a very archaic system. But again, when the kids buy in and it works, yeah, you can have a lot of success with that. I've been coaching, like I said, the fifth and sixth grade now. This for 4 years. I've been to 4 championships. Three of them running the gun tee, one running that hybrid. I've won 2 championships. I won it the year prior to COVID, which was probably the best youth team I've ever coached. They are currently they're sophomores now at the high school level, and that's the majority of our team at the high school level. We had one senior and I think 4 or 5 juniors, and then the rest were sophomores and freshmen. So, like I said, that team are going to be juniors this year, and last year as sophomores we were fourth in the state. It's Division 8 small time football, but still to have mostly sophomores and to be able to compete at that level is awesome and exciting for the next 2 years. And that's enough about me. Like I said, nobody wants to listen to that. So our league structure is we're countywide. Oops, sorry. We've got 7 teams in our league. Our divisions go Pee-wees, juniors, seniors. Our Pee-wees are third and fourth grade with a weight limit of 105. Our juniors our fifth and sixth grade with a weight limit of 125, and our seniors are seventh and eighth grade with a weight limit of 150. If a player is over the weight limit, it doesn't mean that they can't play. It just means they have restrictions. So they can't run with the ball. They have to play tackle to tackle on offense and defense, so they can't line up outside the tackle on defense. They can't line up outside the offensive tackle while they're on defense. If they recover a fumble, they've got to just fall. Interception, they got to just fall. They can't advance that. But besides that, it's kind of fair game. Our program this year, we had a down year at the junior level, which was the group that I coached. We had 15 kids, and it was a tough year. We ended up winning the championship. We just got hot at the right time, and the kids bought in. Late in the season, we had a lot of injuries early in the season. We started the season 0-4, and then won our last 5 games on our way to a championship. We really had to simplify our offense. We lost our starting guards one of our starting guards for 5 games. Then we lost our other guard for a game. He got suspended. Stupid mistake. Emotions got the better of him. He threw a punch. So we missed him for pretty much 2 full games at that point because that punch was early in that first game. So we had, again, that's with 15 kids. Out of those 15, we might get 10 to show up to practice every night. So it was a struggle. So you'll see a lot of the game film from this last year when I go through it is we don't pull. We had to get rid of our pulls and just kind of run more of a power type offense. It wasn't the offense I wanted to run. 2 years ago, we made the championship again, and that team, we had almost 30 kids on it. We were able to pull. We were able to run everything with pulls and everything like that. So again, that just kind of shows how flexible this offense can be and how you can make it work even without pulling. It's not ideal. It does make it tougher to gain numbers in certain spots, but you can definitely do it. So we are vertically aligned with our high school, meaning our youth program feeds directly into our high school. For the most part, we do lose some kids to a tech school in the area, but for the most part, we feed directly into our high school, where I'm the offensive coordinator at the high school. So it really streamlines everything. Our senior head coach, helps us coach at the high school as well. So like I said, we are very aligned with our high school, which makes life a lot easier and makes it a lot easier once they get to high school to hit the ground running day one. The youth, we start the first Monday in August. We practice 4 to 5 days a week until school starts, and then we go 3 nights a week, and then a game on Sunday. I used to go 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, with our preseason practices, but I would always lose kids to vacation, it was always your starting quarterback, running back. There's somebody you really needed at practice that was automatically going on a vacation. So what I started doing was going Monday through Thursday and then giving everybody a long weekend. It hasn't prevented it from losing kids, but it has helped where families know that every week they're going to get a 3-day weekend. So if they did want to take a little vacation, they got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we're back at it Monday night. So they could leave early Friday, be there Saturday, Sunday, even Monday. Then we're not practicing until 6 at night on Monday. So they still have like a 3 to 4 day weekend to be able to get stuff done, and it has helped us get everybody to practice. Um, Again, our regular season is 6 games, and we have a 3-round playoff where everybody makes it, which is extremely helpful. Two out of the let's put it this way: 2 out of the 4 seasons I did make the championship. Um, we had a losing record, and we just didn't play well in the regular season for one reason or another. Like I said, this last year was just was injuries and just lack of players. 3 years ago, we were a very young team, and it just clicked at the end of the year. So like we had some success at the end of the year with that. So the start of the week, that's not necessarily anything with this, but it's something that I do like to promote that I do. I don't know how many teams do it. Our seniors just picked it up, but a real quick rundown of what we do there is obviously we're here to coach football. Without a doubt, we all love coaching football, but there is that next tier to coaching where you're building these kids to just be better kids, better adults, just better human beings, and trying to teach them life lessons and everything like that. As cliche as it sounds, but it's true. A lot of us coaches teach those life lessons, and I don't feel that we even know that we are teaching those life lessons. So start of the week, what I do with that is every week. So I pick my 3 captains that are my captains the entire season. Week 1, rolling into the first week's game, we pick the stud of the week, which becomes our 4th captain that week. So week 1, the 3 captains um, that the coaches chose decide who the start of the week is week 1. Coaches have zero say in it. We leave it 100% up to those 3 kids. Those 3 kids then need to give a 1-minute speech in front of the entire team on why they chose this player to be the start of the week. And that's not even like the start of the week most of the time. And it's what I love most about it is it's not the best player. It's not the favorite kid on the team. It's a kid that shows up. He's probably not your best. He's probably not that good, but he works hard. He's there every night, and like the kids see that, and it kind of helps the coaches show the kids like, hey, this is important too. Like this kid's here busting his butt. Yeah, he's not going to probably help us much on Sundays when we play, but he's here helping you at practice. Like so, he's just as much part of this team as anybody else. So like I said, we let the players pick all of that. After week 1, now that start of the week becomes part of the leadership committee, the captain crew, whatever you want to call it. So now there's 4 of them. And now those 4 players pick week 2's start of the week. But the only difference between week 1 and 2 is now that the player that was the start of the week last week has to give the solo speech on why he decided to give the start of the week to this player. It puts him on an island. That 30-second speech from these guys is one of the highlights of my year. Like every week, I look forward to it. I've been recording it and sending it out to parents. Parents love it. I got a ton of feedback about how awesome it is. I've got kids that I've coached for 2 years that don't say a word during practice, but they still give that 30-second speech, and that's all I hear them talking in those 2 years. So, like I said, getting the kids out of their comfort zone a little bit. It's good because again, nobody likes public speaking. I don't like public speaking. I do this, but again, it's something I'm passionate about. So it's kind of easier to talk about this than why when I'm in 5th grade, why I picked this player, this kid on the team to be the captain of the week. So it gets my other comfort zone and it kind of makes them say something nice about other kids on the team. So it all kind of works out and it keeps kids coming to practice for the most part. Let's get to football. All right. So 5 quick tips on installing this offense. Keep it simple. Don't try to force a square peg into a round hole. Don't try to come in day 1 and install all 6 to 7 concepts. You can throw some formations at them, but you don't want to overwhelm them day 1. Keep it kind of simple. And I do, and like I said, I'll break down how I install everything during this talk, obviously. But again, keep it simple and there's things that you can overcoach, but if there's certain things that you can, and I'll get into all that as we go. Match skill sets. So when you're trying to install your offense, don't be like, oh, this kid was a stud at the Pee Wee level, so he has to be our running back. Listen, kids change. Kids like maybe put on some weight, maybe he lost some weight. Maybe he at the youth level he's just a burner, so he's just faster than everybody. But now that couple years older, now everybody else is kind of catching him a little bit. Maybe he's not that kid that just flies to that edge and is gone. It's a different set. And then same thing going from your juniors to your seniors. Just because they were a running back last year doesn't mean they're a running back this year. And vice versa with quarterback, receiver, and again, quarterback you want to kind of keep them the same throughout, just because of how demanding the position can be. But again, match your kids to their skill set. Be flexible kind of goes with that. Don't like actually perfect example for being flexible this last year when I couldn't pull. 2 years ago, I had two guards that were unbelievable. They got out there and they were fantastic blockers when they're pulling. This year, when I had my two best linemen go down on a team of 15, linemen 3 and 4, we tried to get them to pull. It just wasn't sinking for them. They would pull the wrong way. I mean, and we repped it a ton in practice. So honestly, we just got rid of the pulls and we went to more of like a bunch set. I'll show the different formations, the different looks that we got into, but we got more formation heavy than anything else, and that's how we created numbers in our space where we needed to run. Focus on the fundamentals. That goes with installing any offense. I think all these kind of go with installing any offense, but it doesn't make sense for your center to work on pulling because he's never going to pull, at least in my offense. I don't think Kenny has his centers pull. Some centers can. For me, especially at the youth level, I just want my centers to snap the ball. I almost don't even care if they make a great block. Like if they can get the ball back to the quarterback and it's right to the chest and we can run our offense from there, I'll deal with a center that's not the best blocker if he's a great snapper. To me, that's the biggest concern. Find that, and like I said, you can deal with a lot of you can cover up a lot of his weaknesses with guards and everything like that, helping block down stuff like that. Um, but again, focus on fundamentals, teach the basics, down block in this offense every day at practice. You should be working down blocks every day, and your guard should be working pulls every day. So, like I said, focus on the fundamentals and reps, reps, reps. That kind of goes. If you've been coaching more than 3 minutes, you know there's not much more that you can do than reps to really have some of this stuff sink in. I do have a couple different things that I do that I'll show you here in a little bit that help different ways to teach what we're doing. But again, that you're never going to beat on the field reps. That right there is going to help with timing. It's going to help with just with everything. So like I said, get as many reps as you can, even if it does seem a little redundant. Like you get to your team session and you're like, man, we've run this play 10 times and it looks okay. Run it again. Run it again. Run it until you're confident in it. And your kids are confident. It's great if you're confident in it, but if your kids aren't, it doesn't matter how confident you are. It's just not going to work. You got to get your kids to buy in. Classroom sessions. These have been irreplaceable for us. We've been lucky enough to we practice up at the high school, so we literally this picture here, the top one is my youth team 2 years ago. We were preparing for a playoff game in the youth, and this is our high school team. It's the same day. These pictures were taken the same day. The high school picture was taken at 2:30, and this was about 6 o'clock. Same classroom, same everything, and it gets them introduced to film. And some kids it helps, some kids it doesn't. Like I said, you got the classroom sections here. Visual clarity. Some kids need to be able to see it in writing. For me, I know that helps me is to be able to see it all in writing. So being able to draw it up on the board, whether it's with X's and O's, whether it's with game film, whatever it is, being able to see it like drawn up has been extremely helpful because all these kids learn differently. I mean, in these two pictures, you probably got 50 kids, and I bet there's 25 different ways these kids learn. And so you got to try to hit all these different ways that work with different kids. Just because you get onto the field and you try to run a play and this kid doesn't understand it, well, maybe he can't learn that way. I've got coaches that can't learn that way. They need to see the X's and O's. I've got coaches that need to be on the field and see it, and the X's and O's don't really help them. So, like I said, being able to get different looks for these people, for that, not just your kids, but your other coaches, is huge. So that's your visual clarity. Interactive learning. I'll draw up a formation and I'll ask my strong guard, okay, here's we're in our red formation, our base strong right formation. Come up and run or draw what the line does on red buck. And he'll have to go up there and draw it out. And I'm like, okay, then I'll have my quarterback go up and here, now draw what the running back, what the wing back, the running back, and the quarterback do on red buck. And he's got to go draw it up. Then I'll have one of my receivers go up and draw what the X and the A do. So it just kind of shows them, it keeps them involved. And honestly, I remember when I was in school, if you knew there was a chance you had to go to the front of the classroom and do something on the board, you made sure you prepared for that. You weren't going to look like a fool in front of your teammates, in front of your fellow classmates. So you put that extra effort in when you knew there was a chance you had to be in front of the class. And it's like I said, it's been a huge help for us. Game planning, it helps us to show, okay, maybe, so on power, it's really helped out a lot for us because of the blocking rules with it. So our rules on power, and I'll get to that here in a couple minutes, but I'll just kind of give a quick overview with it. Is so like between your guard, so from your center to your tight end, really, they like depending on the front, you're going to block that differently. So for kids, if you got them on the field and you're showing them it like there and you're just moving a player, it might be tough for them to understand the where, okay, so if he's here, I need to do this, but if he's there, I need to do that. So like I said, it does for them to be able to see it and game plan. This is the front we're going to see this week. It just makes it a lot easier to visualize. It's all kind of more the visualization of things. And again, repetition and reinforcement. Reps, reps, reps. It's the same thing. These reps are honestly for some kids more important than the reps on the field. So, like I said, you just get as many different looks for these kids as you can. Like we've got huddle, and I mean, I don't know how many of you youth coaches have huddle. We've been lucky enough to be tied in with a high school with it, so we split that with them. So we share our we'll do a youth install in huddle and share it with all of our youth kids. They love being on their phone and being able to look at their game film or looking at, okay, this is the front we're going to see, and my tight end comes to practice and he's like, oh, this week I saw that they were in a 5-man front, so my D end is on my head or maybe outside shoulder, so I got to block him out as opposed to doubling down. Like so for them in the week before, maybe it was a different look, and that end was inside of him. So like to be able to show it on screen is everything. Any questions? Nope, not yet. All right. Again, guys, feel free to just fire away questions. Keep this interactive. I'm here for 3 hours thereabouts. So, like I said, I'd much rather be interactive, even if I have to jump off what I'm doing here on the slideshow and open up my huddle. I am all for that. So if you see anything and you got questions, definitely ask. Definitely ask. Like I said, I'd rather not sitting here and just ramble on with my slides for the next 3 hours. So our base formation. Which ironically I didn't even. Well, actually, we just gotta do this one. That's crazy. I didn't put the base formation in here, but I can pull it up here. Give me 1 second. I just gotta open that and share my other screen. How many of you guys are running Kenny's offense? Do you want to just show in chat? So this is the base strong right formation. We call it red. Looking to run it this season. All right, awesome. Like I said, it's been super successful for us. We've got some undersized linemen. I know that's always a big question. So like I said, even with undersized linemen, we've been able to have some success with this from the youth right up through our high school program. So like I said, this is our base red formation. Everything comes off of this formation. This formation or the blue, which is just flip the complete opposite. We do flip our entire line. So our strong tackle, when we're in blue, goes to the left side. Our strong guard goes to the left side. And then these two flip to the other side. And our Y and B is always on the strong side unless there's a tag moving them. But again, have your base. I've seen a lot of coaches where every formation has a completely different name. So like you'll have red, which is your base formation here, and then you'll look at you'll go to empty, and this tag here is just red empty, and the tag empty, all that does is tells your running back, to go split out to the quick side. What I've seen is, so you'll have your red, your base formation, and then this would be eagle, which is something totally different. But for 10 out of the 11 guys, nothing changes. So now 11 guys need to learn a new play. To where with tags, right now it's red, empty. The only person that needs to listen to a tag is our F and listens for empty. If we go to if we went to red Mustang, oops, bear with me, I'm just learning this. There we go. So we go red Mustang. It's this is this is blue Mustang. I don't know why I put like that. But so blue Mustang, all blue set or all Mustang means is it's our double back look, two back look. So it takes our B going from the wing spot into the backfield. So now you got a two back look in the backfield. We ran a lot of that this year, and we were pretty successful with it. That was one of my best favorite formations, and you can get kind of creative with it. And now, if you've got a running back at B that you like to run, that maybe he's not a jet guy, maybe he's more of a bruiser. You like him blocking, and he's just not quick, and you want to give him the ball. Go into your Mustang look. Get two guys in the backfield. Again, I'm not going to click through all these. My next section is on all of is all formations and motions, so we'll really dive a little bit deeper into these. But again, all these tags move just one player. Ox, axe, close. All of these move one player except for our brown and black look. Oh, Rick's back. Everything good, Rick? You're muted.
No, everything's good. I'm
Oh,
getting
okay.
them all going.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Keep
Just wanted
rolling.
to make sure my screen was shared right and everything like that. Let's see. Near the end, what is the breakdown of your players? X first year, X second. What do you mean? What is the breakdown of your players? Like who are they typically? Like skill set wise? Is that what you're asking? Years experience. All right. So yeah, let me pull that back up. I'll give a quick rundown. Actually, that's a great question, and this is the first time I presented this, so that right there is actually perfect. I appreciate that question because that's something I need to add into this. Is kind of the breakdown of who should be where with these looks. So let me get back to our base look, and I'll run through it real quick. But yes, that's a great question. We'll say Blue Mustang. That's fine. All right. So my ex player, a lot of times he's a first year player, a player we can hide. So if you've got a player that you're looking at, you want to get him on the field, but he might not be your best athlete. X is where you're going to want to put him. You'll see in some of my film, like this last year, I had a smaller kid, great kid. He showed up to every single practice, but he was smaller and he started coming around with his toughness near the end. But like I said, he wasn't a kid that was going to be in the box anywhere. But again, I rolled with 15 kids. A lot of games I rolled in with 13 kids showed up for the game. So like I said, we had to be creative. And I've had times where I've told my ex, get to the sideline. I want to be able to give you a high five from the sideline, because we knew that the corner was going to go with him until he won it. So like I said, if that corner was going to go with him, we take both of those guys out and then play 10 on 10 inside there. So that your ex can be a new player, a first year player. I've heard. I think Kenny puts his next quarterback that he plans on having. He'll put him at X just if he's an athlete to get him onto the field and get used to play calls and just being out there. Um, at the youth level, that's your spot to hide the kid. If you got maybe a coach's kid that isn't the most talented, X is where you want to hide him. Your A, you can use him as much or as little as you want. I've had years where I've used him quite a bit, and I've had like this last year I didn't use him a ton. My A next for next year is going to be a style player. He's going to be my F. He's going to be my starting running, but not mine, but because I'm stepping down. But he's going to be the starting running back for that team. But he was just a little too skittish to start the season, and we had some returning players at our three running back, or our quarterback, our F and our B. Those guys you definitely want to have experience the most that you can. Those three guys are going to be the focal points of your offense in the backfield. Again, you can definitely make the A the focal point if you've got that depth. You can run them on motions and have them run Trojan to the strong side. You can go flop and have them go jet back to the quick side. You could create a tag that put him in the backfield and kept B out at wing. So I mean, it's kind of your options are somewhat unlimited as with your imagination. You can be as creative as you want to be with it. There's stuff that I've installed that Kenny doesn't, or I call things differently than Kenny does. You'll see once we get into the concept install that I'm definitely a little bit different than what Kenny does, at least at the youth level, with the order that I install my offense. Um, so your quarterback, you want that to be. It could be a first year player, and again, all these kids could be first year players. It depends on more of a talent level than and the ability to comprehend the offense. those are the bigger things that I'd be worried about than necessarily first year, second year player. Because 2 years ago when we won it, or when we made it to the championship and lost, we went undefeated and just blew it in the championship. My app was a first year player, and he was probably the second best back in the entire county. He was just an absolute stud. We lost him to basketball. We've got a new program around here for AAU, and there's 15 different AAU teams, and everybody's the next coming of Michael Jordan, and they play year round. So I lost him to basketball, unfortunately. But I think we're starting to see that kind of all over the place, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, I still believe, especially at the youth level, everybody should be playing multiple sports. I don't really intrude on other seasons. I might change that up a little bit this spring with a 7-on-7, but that's really about it. But again, with your backs, it's put your best players out there. Let your athletes go make plays. And once they get into the plays and everything like that, you'll see different ways to get these guys the ball. Your Y can, at the youth level, I recommend him being just a blocker. If you've got someone that can block and catch, that's a huge asset. And I do have some film of we just hit Y pop on a lot of plays, and it was super successful. I don't know if I have that in any of the 3 presentations tonight, but if we got some time at the end and you want to see it, definitely let me know and I'll show you that. Your strong tackle is kind of what it sounds like. Your strongest lineman. Usually that's your biggest kid that he's never going to pull, and 98% of the time he's just down blocking. It's very simple. We had a kid that struggled to grasp the offense this year, and he was a lineman, and we just put him at strong tackle and said, "Listen, you're blocking down." And we made everybody adjust around him. But again, for that 2%, I don't know how many times it really messed us up with him only down blocking. Like we kept it simple. Your strong guard is typically your pull kick. So you want someone that's strong enough to kick out a defensive end if they're a bigger D end. Your center, like I said earlier, we kind of talked about him. If he can snap consistently, he'll be my center. I'll deal with not being able to be the best blocker. You can give him help with your guards. There's different things you can do to help with that. Your strong guard is you almost want him to be like the old school fullback type, just that bruiser of a kid that's got a little bit of speed, a little bit more than your typical guard, because he's going to pull wrap on most plays. So you want him to be able to pull and get out in front. And then your quick tackle, if you're going to get into some RPOs, needs to be a little bit smarter, because depending on the RPO, his blocking rules will change, because typically we leave the backside end is your typical read that you'll do at the youth level with like a run option. I haven't run it a ton. 2 years ago, I did a little bit, but not a ton at the 5th, 6th grade level. Do I think we could have? Probably. But I just didn't put the time into it, and part of me wishes I did. But we were having success with what we were doing, so I just wanted to polish that up. But like I said, that was a great question, and that's definitely something I'm going to be adding to this presentation, is the breakdown for each player. So appreciate that. We get back to the PowerPoint. All right, so there's that. So this is the order that, like I said, feel free to fire out any other questions. Like I said, I definitely appreciate that. So this is the order that we do install. They're formations, but they're really just tags. So we have one formation with 100 tags, not necessarily 100, but we have a lot of tags. These are the first ones that we do install. And the awesome thing with this is you can combine tags. So like if you want, and you can see those once we kind of get into this a little bit. You might have a call that's red, which is your base, ox, which moves your X over to the strong side, Mustang, which brings your B into the backfield. So, like I said, it's one player base, or one formation your base, but you got multiple tags which move 2 different players. So ox moves your X, Mustang moves your B. So it just moves 2 different players. So like your other 9 guys don't need to learn anything new. So that's why, like I said, you'll hear me stress that throughout the night, and then even in the next session, tags. Don't create brand new names for different formations. The only time I would suggest it is if you've got, like, if you're combining multiple, like a handful of tags, which we've done. So we had one where we went, I don't have it in here, but it's bug, which talks to our B and just moves them over to the quick side. So we went red, bug, empty, red. What the hell was it? Red, bug, empty, strong, I think is what the call was. So we took that and we condensed it down, and I don't remember what we called it. It might have been special or something like that, to where the kid just knew that if we called special, that's what the play was. But if you're just putting 1 or 2 tags on there, it's not worth putting in the extra play names. just use your tags. It does get a little bit wordy for the quarterback, but it makes it easier for everybody else. So we already looked at flop, empty. All trips does is it moves our B over to the strong side or over to the quick side, and it splits them out. So the B is typically here. It moves him out over here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on formations, like I said, because the next session is all formations. So, like I said, we're going to kind of breeze through this and then get into concepts. Our motions. So bus and boat talk to our B. Flip and Frida talk to our F. And train and trolley talk to our A. I know that doesn't necessarily fit, but it's just kind of how it came. So bus and boat, the only difference between these two, and so these motions go across the formation. So bus is a flat motion. Oops, that way. So bus is flat motion coming across the formation, and the only difference between bus and boat is an orbit motion, goes behind the quarterback. Those are the only difference there. If B is on this side and we call bus, he's coming across the formation this way. Same with boat, again, coming all the way across the formation. The only difference that we've got is with our F, because it gets confusing, because sometimes we don't want to motion them across the formation. Sometimes we want to motion them out towards the sideline. So flip is a motion left. So like we'll run this quite a bit, and we'll run like F swing, F bubble, whatever you want to call it, just to get him out into space. And you'll be surprised, and maybe you won't be surprised at the youth level, how few teams will actually adjust to a motion out like that. So I've had weeks where you've got your A and X sitting here, you got an invert sitting in like apex in between the tackle and the A, and then you got probably somebody head up your X. That's a very easy steal block here. F gets out here, and now you've got numbers. You've got X block in there, and if he can make his block there, you're golden. There's nobody else out there. You might have to worry about a safety coming around, but I mean, for the most part, in the youth level, your corners and the safeties aren't your free safety or deep safety aren't necessarily the best tacklers. So I'll take my chances with my running back in the youth to break an open field tackle against the weaker of the players. So like I said, I'll take that all day long. And Frida, see, is it going to show it going across? So Frida is just going across the formation, and it's going to be the same thing if it's flipped. So with the F, it's directional. So flip is F left, Frida is F right. So like I said, those are what I wanted to show with that. And I apologize if I'm going too quick. If I am, definitely holler out. Let me know. Again, I'm here for 3 hours, so we'll have plenty of time to get through everything. Even if we're part way through a presentation, we can make all that work. Train and trolley is the same thing, in front or behind the. Great, awesome, man. Like to hear that. Appreciate it. All right. So now this is really what I think everybody is kind of here for, is the concepts and how we install them. So we install power first. This is the order that we install it in. If Kenny sees this slideshow, he's going to be pretty upset with me that Buck is sitting way back here. At the high school level, these concepts are a little bit different with how we install them. Buck is a little bit closer to the front. But at the youth level, I found it was difficult, even with good linemen. We've run it with linemen 2 years ago that could run it. But it's tough. There's a lot. It can be congested at that off tackle spot where you got that pull kick, the pull wrap. Everybody's locking down. A lot of times I feel it just gets really congested right in that off tackle spot, and kids are bouncing it anyways. That's why I went more Trojan. Once I get into Trojan, I'll kind of explain why I hate to say that it's replaced Buck for us, but it kind of has. So like I said, let me get into power, and then when we get through Trojan, I'll kind of explain how it's replaced Buck for us. So power, most of what you're going to see is is against a 4-man front. That's what we see 95% of the time. The look that you're seeing here, 4-2-5, 4-4. I mean, it's all pretty much the same. We're very similar. So most of what you're going to see drawn up is against those looks. I do have it drawn up against other looks, and I'll gladly share all that with you guys. If you guys want to see my presentation, you want me to email it to you, let me know. I'll get all this over to you. I'm not hiding anything. So like I said, feel free to just ask for it, and you'll get I'll send you whatever I've got. And again, I'm going to kind of breeze through the concepts here a little bit. If I am going fast, definitely let me know. So power, we run power in the championship game this last year. We got rid of pulls and we ran power. If we ran 30 plays, 25 of them were power, and it was mainly to our sideline. We did run out of different formations, but it was power, whether it was to our F or Q or our B, it was power. And we just had a lot of success with it and we lived in it. And it worked really well for us. So kind of the blocking rules on power. So your X and your A, I let these guys get a little creative if the ball's going away from them. It gets boring for these guys running and blocking, and we're running power to the strong side 90% of the time. These guys eventually are just going to stand there. And that's what we ran into, especially with this X last year. We had a play. We were running, I think, Trojan, so power, so flip to the strong side. We gained maybe 10, 15 yards. So it was a solid play that lasted a little bit. The kid kind of cut back and forth. So it lasted a little bit. I watched it. So the kid starts here. The play ends. The entire play ends. He didn't move his feet. His 2 feet didn't come off the ground. He didn't take a step. Nothing. He stood there and just turned and looked and watched the play. So I tried to figure out ways to get them more involved, even when they're not involved. So that's why I gave these guys kind of that creative ability, or whatever you want to call it, to kind of do what they want out there. And what I told them was, listen, run bubble, run a now screen, run snag, run your different concepts out here that we've worked on, but then get creative. I don't care. Run a slant and go. Like I said, get creative and see if there's something that you do and these guys don't run with you. So say your A's running bubble and he's so worried about this off tackle over here that he's flying in, and we've seen that. I want my A to come to the sideline and be like, hey, bubble's open. Get me the ball in bubble. It's there. It's there. Doesn't mean I'm going to throw it, but if it's there, I might take that shot. Because again, this is like your third, the fourth, probably your fourth string running back a lot of the times, the A, and your X is that kid you hide. So like I said, a lot of times I don't want to put the ball in their hands in a clutch position, even if it is open. And I don't know if I've got film on it this year, but 2 years ago, it was actually my nephew that was playing A. It was his first year playing with me. And he was wide open, and he would get so mad at me that we weren't throwing it, but we were ripping off 10 yards out of whack, running power, Trojan. That year, we were able to run both ways. So it didn't make sense to risk an interception, a fumble, anything like that out there. So, like I said, I had to deal with that at the Sunday dinner. But like I said, he became my dude the second year at quarterback. So he had his time to shine. So again, coming across the line here, your quick tackles and your center are pretty much just we call it penny. You're pinching the gap where the guard left. He pull wraps. We say the first daylight. We don't want him pulling just past the center. I think part of Kenny's offense is okay with that. Our F takes too many steps, and I feel like if he knows that the center or the guard's pulling back here, he's forcing it back in, and it creates more congestion than anything else. So we do like to hit this against at least a 40 front, just outside that tackle, because usually your strong tackle is your stronger guy. So your push is getting downfield. You're getting more push going this way. So that it does open this up here. So this is typically where power hits, is B to C gap. Sometimes you have to bounce it, but usually it doesn't get cut back. So so the actual rules that we have coming across with our guard and tackle and end is the guard has number one past the center, number one lineman. So there's nobody inside of him here. This tackle is the number one. The tackle's rule is block number 2 O lineman if he is inside the tight end. So this end is outside the tight end. So then his rule is to double back. So because there's nobody in his outside gap here, the number 2 is outside of the Y. He's blocking down, and we're getting a double team here. And then Y is just blocking out. If the end's outside of him, if he is inside of him, it's a lot of times we'll see some D ends, especially when we start getting into some funky formations. He'll get closed down and he'll be in here, and they'll have like their safety out here right up on the line. So then things get a little bit funky. But like I said, for the most part, we're having your Y block down on the end, the end man on the line if he's inside, and you might get a double team with your strong tackle and Y, and then your guard's blocking down. Nothing too fancy with that. Your B, we call it valleying. It could be, I think a lot of people call it an insert block. So now you've got your guard inserting, and your B inserting, all going through that same hole. We tell our guard to look inside when he's pulling. Pull once you get through the hole. Look to that inside. A lot of times you'll have those linebackers scraping, and our B is looking more to the outside. A lot of times it's this kid. He'll flow in. He'll see the B insert, and he'll fly in over the top here. So it usually kind of becomes a kick out, and then our F gets up and on the inside of that. Ideally, your F is getting behind the guard. It's a lot easier said than done at the youth level, but it can definitely be done. I know we like to have them as close, like we do work like a towel drill where we put a towel on the back of the guard's shorts and we try to get a running back to catch them and pull it out. It doesn't always happen, but it gets them focused on where their eye should be, which is on their pulling guard, and then he can read off those blocks. So that's kind of the basics of power. And again, out of different looks and everything like that, you might see different things, but those are your basic blocking concepts out of power. Trojan. Doesn't look like there's any questions on power. Perfect. So Trojan is it's pretty much your pin and pull concept. So across the backside, again, you got your quick tackle and your center. They're blocking back. Pretty much just closing off this gap here where your guard pulling from. And we don't overcoach our guards on this too much. The biggest point we got, and honestly, this line isn't super accurate. I want this guy getting upfield more sooner. That's the strong guard. But so again, with the pulls here, same thing as the strong guard's doing the same thing he does on power. It's just wider now. So we work day one, power and Trojan. So that guard is working pull all day long. But the only difference is in power, he's pulling in here, to where on Trojan, he's getting outside. Same with our strong guard, he's getting outside. Our strong tackle, just a down block. And our blocking rules on the edge. This is where it differs from this to Buck. Buck is everything is gap down backer, which is pretty much from the tackle back, except so out of this. So Trojan, the B is blocking the number one from the sideline. We do not necessarily count the corner unless he's a dude. Again, at the youth level, your strongest tacklers aren't necessarily at corner, so we typically don't count him when we're counting from the sideline. Now, if he is sitting right here at the line of scrimmage, maybe we will. We'll have him block out, and then our guards kind of end up pulling a little bit tighter, and kind of they'll pick up the strong safety. But again, a lot of that's on the fly, and that's why I don't necessarily coach the guards too much on who they should block. I want them getting to the edge, and maybe that edge gets set right here at the line. Then they cut it up. Great, that's fine. Then that's a good steal block there by our B. Our Y is going one-on-one with our number 2, which in this point is the DN. So he's base blocking there, our B's base blocking here, and our guards are pulling up and in. Our F gets behind the quick guard. So at that point, remember how I said that it kind of got walled off here because that corner was up? Well, now we got those 2 guards pulling up tight, and now Trojan, even though it's a pin and pull, it's technically a sweep play, is hitting tighter. It's hitting where Buck does. So, like, we're almost letting the defense, like, we're calling Trojan, but we're almost letting the defense determine where the ball's going. And, like, on this look here, if our B is able to just get in front of him long enough to where he's not getting pressure upfield, then our F's going to take it to that edge. He's going to try to get to that outside, and our guards are going to get around that. So now you got your 2 guards lead blocking. Looking to the inside, one should pick up this linebacker who's probably flowing. Now you got a guard on a cornerback. So you got your guard out there, lead blocking on a corner, with your running back behind him, and there's really nobody else there. So I like this, and I think Kenny puts it, I don't remember the exact quote, but it's about, I think it's a Bruce Lee quote about being fluid with water. I don't have it. I'm not going to steal it from him. That's his thing. But it's the fluidity of this play that I like the most, as opposed to Buck, where it's very, very regimented. Like, you are hitting off that. Like, this is 95% where it's going to go. You got pull kick. You got pull wrap. You're hitting right here. And listen, there's a spot for it. We've had a lot of success with Buck, but it takes a lot longer to install. This play can hit kind of off tackle. This can hit, like, I've even seen it to where this DN comes flying upfield because he's taught to contain. So he gets upfield. Now that's a steal block out, and we've hit Trojan here. right where power hits, where buck hits, like we've hit it tight. So it's fluid, and we let the kids kind of read it. And something that I found, and I actually meant to bring it up earlier when I was talking about like the 5 quick tips. Push your kids. Like they're going to surprise you with how much they're going to be able to do and how much you're going to be able to remember and get done. My first year running this, I was all in it because a lot of this stuff when I got into it was during COVID, so I had a lot of extra time. So I really dove headfirst into the system, so I knew it in and out. To where I knew my 10, 11-year-old kids aren't going to know it like me. So there's like I had to make sure I could tone it down for what those guys were able to do. But the fact that I could just it kept it simple. Again, especially right here. And I'm not going to kind of beat this to death, but I just like the fact that it's fluid out here. You're going to just hit that open seam, and you're going to see Trojan. And I run it out of spread sets. I run it out of with a motion. So I'll go F will be an empty. We'll put our F out here, and then we'll run motion, and I'm run Trojan. Just doing, I'll tell you right now, just doing that, just moving your F out here pre-snap, you're going to see him come over. You're going to see this guy. You're going to see people shifting this way because your F is out here. Then you're going to come in motion. You're not going to see these guys move. They're not going to shift over like you're going to see at the high school level. So a lot of times you're going to be able to hit that edge a lot. You're going to see a lot of film where the defense just did not adjust. So it's like I said, just by going different motions and formations is going to get you into very favorable situations. Like I said, I've got a whole section on that. That's coming up next. Actually, it's already 7 o'clock. All right. Like I said, we can kind of continue this while we roll into the next one. The formations go quick, so that one's not going to be too bad. You get that. Feel free to fire away at any questions you got. So belly is the same thing as Trojan, or same thing as power, just going the opposite way. So now, other than your quick guard pulling to the strong side, you got your strong guard pulling to the back side. Your quick tackle is kind of like your Y. He's base blocking out. Yeah, then you're just hitting it inside. Out of this look, I'd probably, depending on if this strong tackle can handle this tackle one-on-one, I would have my center double here, which is what he probably should be doing and probably what he does do. I know I'm trying to emphasize, like, we got to fill that gap. But this, like I said, there's not really anybody in this gap. So he could even come back and double team here as well. Then you got your pull wrap with your guard through here, picking up that backer. And we do teach our X and our A on plays going their way to block down. I've kind of changed that this year other than jet. I know that's an automatic for Kenny. But what I've found is like my A is blocking down, my X is blocking down, which is great. And it does help on plays to the edge. But now all we're doing, he's blocking down. So now the strong safety's running in with the A. The cornerback's running in with the X. So now we're just adding extra guys here. So we have adjusted it to where our X and our A, they can run a pass concept out of here. If we like this last year, we didn't run much to the quick side at all, just because of numbers, we didn't have the talent out there. So it didn't matter as much. But like I said, 2 years ago, we let these two just kind of run different routes and hey, let us know what's open. We'll hit we'll try to get it out to your hand. 2 years ago, we had kids that could catch. So we did throw it out to them a little bit more than we had in previous years. So let's see, we got a question. How would you handle if strong side walks up on belly, basically in a 6-2 front? So you're talking if he is sitting like more so tight in here. Is that what you're talking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then more so him on the line as well on both sides. Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably go to Q belly. And like my last session is all on quarterback play. So what that would do there, so when we go Q belly, that puts our F out here. Now he becomes the blocker. Our quarterback becomes the runner, and we'll kick. We'll come in. Oops, that's ugly. So we'll have him come and kick this guy. So that's an adjustment that we have. And then our quarterback is still keeping. Jesus, what is Tuttle doing? Our quarterback will still run power in here, but we get a good kick out with our F. So we've done that. We've honestly, if we see something like that, we'll try to formation them out of it. So at that point, we might just go empty. Or honestly, what we've done in the past, we'll go trips, which will bring your B over to the quick side. And now, if they want to bring him in the box, keep him in the box to a trips look, I'm going to hit our B on a bubble. Like we work bubble, our B can catch, we'll hit bubble on that. We'll even go kind of the same general idea. We'll go bubble here. So we'll go empty with our F. It will hit bubble if this guy's sitting down, if these guys are sitting down in the box like a 6-man front. And again, it's going to be a very easy pitch and catch. Now everybody is definitely blocking down on bubble. A is picking up number one threat, which is the safety here. And then, like I said, we just get outside of them. If X can pick up the corner, I'm going to take my running back, my best back against their free safety or even a corner out there 100 times out of 100. If they make the play, kudos to them. But most times, I'll tell you right now, it just doesn't work for them, especially with this guy inside, because then we've got some major numbers out here. Does that answer your question? Does that kind of help with what you were looking for? Perfect, perfect. Love the questions. Like I said, I'd rather not just sit here and read through a presentation. So, like I said, love the questions. So again, there's belly. A lot of times, if we go Q belly, do I have Q belly? So we'll run a motion. So we'll go red bust. Q belly. So this as well can kind of help if you got a safety that's walked up, because what you'll see here. So say you've got him walked up here. Now when you come in motion here with your B, and we make the ride here. So we're faking jet coming across here. This guy's got to make that decision. Is he going to run with the jet, or is he going to sit and try to try to tackle the quarterback? We haven't gotten to the point to where we can read that on the fly yet. That's kind of a coaching call. Um, at the high school level, yes, we're reading that all day long. So what we do at the high school level is our quick tackle would leave the end, and he'd block out on the invert, and then the quarterback's reading. Does that DN crash? If he does, quarterback's pulling it. If he plays contained, like a lot of youth DNs are, he'll fake that jet, and then he'll just keep it up and underneath. So those are some of the adjustments we've made to kind of affect this guy on the outside here. Sometimes what we'll see is this inside backer is super aggressive coming downhill, to where right now that motion, even if he takes a half a step out, that opens it up enough for our F to be able to seal block him out, and then we can get upfield and make a play on that. I do have a bunch of film, not so much on belly, but on power, which kind of shows some of that stuff. Right there. And then jet is the same blocking as belly. The only difference between jet and belly, you still got your pull wrap here. Again, it's the same front. So again, I'd have the C probably, or not the C, the center tackle Jesus, sorry, have the center and the guard double team the tackle here. But the only difference here is now our B is getting the handoff on jet. So our quick tackle, it changes for him, because now other than blocking the D end out, he's going to try to hook them. That can be a tough block, especially because our D ends that we see will sit kind of out here. So unless you got a really good athlete at quick tackle that can hook him, which 99% of the time odds are, that's a damn near impossible block for that quick tackle if he's playing that wide. So what we'll do is we'll have our F check that D end. So as he's releasing, he's looking in here. So his eyes are to the inside. And if there's any leakage here, that's his number one priority, is picking that up. We'll deal with it on the edge, but this kid cannot make the tackle. He's Matt Brewster. I think he had a session last night. I know he struggled 2 years ago with that, and I think he made a similar adjustment. And I think he had some successes last season with actually, I think some of Brewster's guys might be in here. I think he said they were going to join in. But again, he was saying like they struggled there, so they had to get that extra guy over there. Sometimes they would take their Y and bring them over here, which is our yo formation, Y over, and help with the DN. So like I said, there's a couple different things that you can do to help with that. What time does this session go till? Probably pretty close to now. Let's see. So I'll rip through buck and counter real quick. We do like counter a lot. Log me out. So the blocking rules on buck or gap down backer, the rules are pretty simple. So it's everyone's blocking down, strong tackle down, your Y is blocking down, your B is blocking down, and it doesn't matter what defensive front that you got. Your center is on backside, so he should be more here. Your quick tackle is step hinge or pinch. So like I said, we pretty much just closing off this gap here. Your strong tackle is pull kick, which he's kicking out the end. Your strong guard is pull wrap. And your F is getting behind your quick guard here on his pull wrap. Again, it's nothing on paper, it's nothing too fancy, but there's a lot that goes on in here at the youth level. You don't get a good push. It can definitely turn into just a bunch of kids standing in one, not standing, but kind of cluster messed into one spot. And usually the F is bouncing it anyway to about where Trojan's going anyway. So that's one of the reasons why I went Trojan more than Buck. And like I said, Kenny's going to take his gun T card away from me for saying that, but it's just kind of what's worked for us at the youth level. Again, at the high school level, it's a little bit different, but the youth level, like I said, Trojan has definitely been a lot cleaner for us. And then counter, we've run counter a couple different ways. This is the base way to run counter out of our base look. And I'll actually pull up counter a couple different ways because I don't think I've got that anywhere else in my presentation. Yeah, I still got a whole lot to go. What time does this session end? Rick, if you're around and you can hear me, what time am I going till with this? I know I got 3 and I'm sure most guys are going to kind of rotate over with me, but I just want to make sure I'm not late with my next session. So with counter, it's your double handoff at the youth level. That's extremely hard. It can be like we've done it, but it's not always clean. It's not always smooth, and it makes me more concerned than anything else. So what we've done more so than anything else. So the rules with counter, again, backside, kind of do your thing, your X and your A. Everybody is just blocking down. Your strong guard has pull kick, and your Y has pull wrap. And then your B is just coming across, getting behind his Y, and Y is leading him up through the hole. They're following Y through the hole. Like I said, the handoff here can get a little messy. So we've actually gotten rid of the double handoff, and we'll fake it to F, and we'll let him run this way, and the quarterback will hand it to B coming back. We'll run this play out of empty, and we'll have F come in motion, like a deep motion, and our X or our Q and our F it almost looks like they're running option to the right, and then the quarterback just drops his hand down, and the B gets it underneath. For everybody else, it's the same. So the blocking assignments up front are all the same. It's just different window dressing in the backfield to get different looks. I know I'm kind of ripping through these last couple pretty quick, but I do want to get through. I got 2 more slides that I want to get to. My practice plan and on my call sheet, and again, I can throw that into my next one. 20. Okay, so I got 10 minutes. Perfect. Appreciate it, man. And I should be able to get through this in 10 minutes. All right. So this is kind of our quick breakdown of our kind of day 1 practice. So we got our pre-practice for the first 10 minutes. Your stretch, you warm up, you go from there. Be at the next one. Awesome. Like I said, I hope everybody comes over because, like I said, each one of these 3 kind of lead into each other. My next one is, like I said, on formations and motions. And on my last one, so the next one's going to have more film. This one is more, I know it's a little bit dry, but like I said, this kind of sets the tone for the next 2. The next 2 have a lot of film in them. All right. So like I said, we'll do across the top. We've got, like I said, our practice focus. So our special team focus is kickoff. Our ground focus. Actually, let me do this. Forgot that I had it here. There we go. This is what I wanted to show you. So across the top here, we've got power and Trojan. I print these out for our coaches every day. And it's got what everybody is doing across the for power and Trojan. It breaks down their rules. Like I said, for power, your strong tackle is number 2 D lineman. If outside Y, if number 2 is outside Y, then you double team number 1. So like I said, it's all here, and it's a very easy reference for not only myself, but my other coaches that maybe haven't spent 100 hours diving into this, and they're just the dad helping out. For these guys, it makes it a lot easier because even if like it's a dad that's not always there, and he's there because he wants to help out, and he doesn't know, and if whoever the B is, ask him, all right, we're running power. Coach, what do I do on power? I'm the B back. He doesn't need to know. He can look at his practice sheet and be like, oh, you're valleying. And the kid's like, oh, okay, perfect. And he can run it. So we got it Power Trojan, and then the now screens these are our most basic stuff, and these are always paired with a run concept. So again, that's why you see run concept for most of these. And it's like if we're running the now screen or the bubble screen, those are pre-snap reads that we're gonna hit those on. So like I said, we want everybody else to run the actual concept. Perfect. Can you just email, like I said, at the end of my presentation, can you just email me that with your email address and I'll just respond to it? It just makes it a little bit easier. I'm trying to send out a couple of them. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. All right. So pre-practice, so our offensive ground focus is power and Trojan. Our offensive air focus is now in bubble. And then defense, like I said, I just kind of pulled this from last year, a template. So whatever your defense is going to be, every day we tackle to different levels of intensity, but every day we do tackle. All right, so we get through your special teams. Today's kickoff, you get through that. Life is good. You give them a water break. And then this is where, I don't know if we're different than other teams, but what I found it's definitely helped is when we're installing a new concept, we'll go big, little big is what we'll call it. So we got the big concept. We have the entire team. We line them up and we show them, okay, this is what Buck looks, or this is what Trojan looks like. This is what the guard's doing, running backs. This guard is pulling. You want to get behind that guard. This guard is getting to that outside. You want to look for this. Like B, you are looking for number one from the sideline. And we'll put out a defense, whether it's players or barrels. Okay, here's your number one. You count from the sideline. You don't count the corner because he's not a threat. Number one is here. Perfect. Y, our tight end, you've got number two. A lot of times he's going to be lined up here. So they kind of see what they're looking at. Strong tackle. You're down blocking. So that's kind of, we'll go big there. And then we'll do our Trojan pod, which with our guards, our quarterback, and our F. So those are the guys that are the players that are going to be getting the ball. They're going to be blocking. Like they are the core part of where the ball is going to be. Open field. So we'll break this down where like our B and our Y go to block with the open field blocking. Our Y could go with the coach's down blocking, but like our wide receiver coach, ideally if you've got one, or the guy that works with your wide receivers, is probably going to be better open field blocker than the coach that you've got coaching your strong tackle. He's going to be much better at down blocking because that's just what he does. So like I said, getting different players with different coaches is super helpful, and it helps the team too, to where it's not like I've had kids that I've coached with the backs, and I've never worked with a lineman as like an assistant coach. I'm saying head coach, obviously, with everybody, but as an assistant, like there's times where you're just working with your position group, and you'll have very little interaction with the other position group. By doing this, it kind of helps kids meet the other coaches. Like I said, with this group, you've got the B's and the Y's are with your receiver coaches. We could send them both with a down block with the linemen. So our running back, our wing back, and our tight end might be working with the tackles. So, like I said, it gets them a bunch of different looks. And then when they go to like working on their now screens, they're receiving, we'll pull our line, our B back and have them join the pod. We might let like, because our B will go out for bubble or catch the ball. So we might let them still hang out over there and catch some balls. You know, that 10, 11-year-old kids, everybody wants to be out there catching those passes, for being CeeDee Lamb or whoever you want to say. So like I said, it's good for those guys. We'll do a quick water break, and we're back at it with bubble. Same thing. We got certain players open field blocking. They're running bubble, but now we've got a double team session. So like your center, your strong tackle, you're going to get some there it is. Our strong guard is all part of the double team now. So with power, remember, we're only pulling the quick guard. So that's why the quick guard is the only one that's with us. And the strong guard is going and working double teams with your strong tackle, the center. The quick tackle we kind of leave over there because I'm on, granted, he's typically working with the quick guard when he's doubling, but you can still work with a strong guard. A double team's a double team. So like I said, our quick tackle's working double teams. So now our players have worked everything we just told them to do while they were in the big part of the group. So that we tell them, okay, when we're with everybody, it's okay. You're blocking down. You're doing a double team. You're doing this. Great. Now we're going to go work on it in individuals. Perfect. We get through all the individuals, and then we get the water break. We go through defense. We do, again, tackling drill, 10 minutes every day. And we'll split that up how that looks. But a water break, and then we'll end practice the last 20 minutes just running plays out of different formations and things like that. So again, usually I like to keep about a half hour available for team at the end. I use it as a motivator, not only for myself, but for the kids, because like team's fun. It's pretty much a scrimmage at the end of practice. And it's beneficial. I know a lot of coaches now, they're getting away from the contact in practice, and I fully understand it. But I don't want my kid's first big hit to be on a Sunday afternoon. I'd rather it be on a Tuesday night at practice. So like I said, towards the end of the week we definitely tone it down, and we're not going to the ground. It's a hard thud with the tackling. If it's a clean hit and it goes to the ground, so be it. But if you slow them down and like you're grabbing on a leg, the whistle's being blown. We coach not to grab a leg. We don't need knees being twisted, ankles being rolled, things like that. But if you come in and you happen to catch the running back and you get a clean shot and you go straight to the ground, well, hey, that's football, man. So, like I said, that's kind of a quick practice plan with that. And the only other thing that I do want to touch on, I got 3 minutes, and again, I can share all this with you, and I'll even let you guys in on the practice plan. Oop, I don't want to click that there in my drive. Let's see, there we go. So I'm gonna be 2 minutes with this. I might even carry this in the next session if I need to. But so what I've got here, this is my play sheet. This is my call sheet. I know it looks different than what you see all those all the high school coaches using and everything like that. But for me, in the youth, and for me, I don't have special plays that I call on 3rd and 2 as opposed to 3rd and 7. I mean, obviously I got different plays I call, but like I don't know, I game plan, I watch film, and I know what works at certain times. But you're getting the same look whether it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 10 for most of these defenses. So like breaking it down like that wasn't super beneficial for me. So for me, what I did is I've got my cue, like I got every position here that can touch the ball. And I've got, so jet. So if I want to run Q jet, these are the formations I can run it out of. I've got 4 formations that we've installed for Q jet. Q belly, we run it out of 3 formations, the base being one of them. Say our A is, for whatever reason, we can hit him on jet. Great. We can run red, X, train, A jet. Now that gets our A running jet. We can run A out of counter, on a counter. Like we can run A on a Trojan. So like for me, it was a lot easier to find what I was looking for doing it this way. And then underneath it, I've got it broken down by the concept. So, and as you can see, I don't even have Buck listed here. So if that kind of shows where I'm at with that. And again, I know I'm going to lose a bunch of brownie points with Kenny. I love Kenny. I'm going to his clinic out in Boston in a couple months. But like I said, Buck has just kind of fallen by the wayside at the youth level for me. So like I said, I've got the plays we can run a jet, belly, counter, power, Trojan, and the different looks we can run out of them. And then, this is from our championship game. I wanted to really isolate our F. So we ran a lot of red empty X, which we isolated our X, or our F, sorry. Our F is isolated to the quick side and everybody else is to the strong side. We could hit them on a splitting, couple different bubbles, like a slant pass, which is peak, or we just tell them to feature guy, go deep. And then just a couple notes on things to look for. Again, check backside for counter. We ran like a scramble drill and an unbalanced look here. Cooper was our F, so he was our best athlete. So we wanted to be able to isolate him in space. Then a formation motion, and then check for bubble, because a lot of times I'll get out there and I'll forget to look for bubble, and like I said, there'll be nobody covering our A. So like I said, for me, hey, thanks, man. Like I said, I don't know if it's super smart, but like I said, it's worked for me because again, I see all these coaches, they've got, 3rd and 7. These are 3-4 plays I'm going to call. And 3rd and 2, these are the 3 or 4 plays I'm going to call. I don't run many different plays, and there's not many concepts. So for me, it just made it a lot easier, and it was more of a reference just to find where the plays were and then the different looks that we can get into. All right, so that's what I've got for I think that was it for my for this presentation. Yeah, then my slideshow or my contact info there. We'll be in touch. Payment pending. Perfect. So we're gonna take a quick 5. I'm gonna jump into the other one, and we'll jump into formations and motions. And again, that's got film with it and everything like that. So that one's gonna be a little bit better. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes.